thank you to Brookside for sponsoring this video.
There are a million different ways to make a living, and working a traditional 9-to-5 job is just one of them. That worked for me for a really long time until I started yearning for something more. We've spent the last 2 years trying to make a living outside the box in a more creative way, where we can be our own bosses, where we can do what we want to do and live the life we want to live.
And not that we've made it by any means, but I think we're doing it. And we're happy. It's actually a long story, but today we're going to share with you as much as we can to kind of paint the picture of how we got from working a regular 9-to-5 job to traveling the world in our van.
Now, a lot of people think that in order to quit your job, you have to hate it. And that actually wasn't the case for me at all. I worked really hard to get a degree in a field that I cared about. I was working a job that I absolutely loved and felt like I was making a real difference in my local community. But I felt stuck in a bubble. I was craving to see the world in a broader light, and I couldn't experience that from my little cubicle. Honestly, the thought of abandoning that career that I had worked so hard to be in was really scary.
So unlike Allie, I didn't love my job. I was sick of working jobs just to pay the bills, where I didn't feel fulfilled, I didn't feel challenged, I just wasn't happy. I technically had a career in sales, but it was always just a job to me. It was always just a means to an end, a way to pay my bills, a way to put food on the table. The part that made me really scared is I didn't have a lot of money in savings. I didn't have a way to pay bills if we quit our jobs and weren't making any money. So to take this leap of faith and cut the cord was terrifying. The truth was, we didn't know how to do it. We didn't know how to quit our jobs, we didn't know how to take the next step, where we were gonna make money, but we knew we wanted to. I've always had a passion for photography, and I've always gravitated towards videography. So naturally, we ended up heading towards YouTube.
I was extremely resistant. I basically told Trent outright we could never make a living off of YouTube. The market was too saturated. I just didn't understand where the money would come from.
And the money actually comes from a handful of different places. One of the places is brand sponsorships. So as we mentioned earlier, this episode is sponsored by Brookside. Brookside makes dark chocolate that you've probably seen at the local grocery store. They look like this. They are absolutely delicious.
Brookside chocolates actually come in a bunch of different flavors. This is their goji and raspberry. Trent has their acai and blueberry. They all have really distinct flavor combinations of dark chocolate and fruit, which some people aren't super into. I know we were resistant a long time ago when we first tried it, but ever since we've tried these, we've never looked back.
I actually ate these for a long time before I even realized that they were dark chocolate. I'm not a huge fan of dark chocolate, but I absolutely love these things.
So in the essence of this video, get out there and try something new. Maybe try some of Brookside's dark chocolates. They are surprisingly delicious.
And thanks again to Brookside for sponsoring this video. So we gravitated towards YouTube, and you'd think it would all be very intuitive. But to be completely honest, money has to come from a lot of different places in order to survive making videos on YouTube.
Of course, our main goal was to live in a van and travel. So we knew that we could minimize our expenses by downsizing the rest of our life. So we sold our car, we sold all of our furniture, we got rid of our house, we moved into this van, and that cut down on a ton of costs. So at least we were able to live on a much smaller monthly budget.
And at this point, we actually hadn't even quit our jobs yet.
Actually been approved to take my job with me on the road. So it took us about a year just to downsize our lives into this van to try to come up with a plan for how we could live and work and travel all at the same time. So while we were living and traveling in the van, I was working a 40-hour work week while we were also filming pretty consistently for YouTube. After a certain amount of time passed though, my work that I loved and YouTube that I also loved began to interfere with each other.
When we decided to move into the van full time, I wasn't allowed to take my job on the road like Allie was. But I didn't actually like my job. So so I had no problem quitting and taking on YouTube full time. YouTube started to take up more and more of my time and more of Allie's time as well. This created a problem.
It got to the point where we were at a crossroads. I could either continue to pursue my career, or we could give YouTube the attention and focus that it really deserved. We talked about it for a really long time and decided that if we didn't pursue YouTube, we would regret for the rest of our lives not knowing what it could have become. We decided to take a leap of faith, and I quit the job that I loved. It was absolutely terrifying and the hardest decision I've ever made, but it led us to here.
We could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand?
So we were basically given the opportunity of a lifetime to chase after our dreams, to explore, to travel, to adventure. And we decided that if we didn't take full advantage of it, we would kick ourselves for the rest of our lives.
Our families thought we were completely insane. We've gotten a mixed bag of emotions from our parents, from our friends, but we're trying to just stay true to ourselves. What we want is to travel, to experience the world, to become citizens of the world, to understand what other cultures have to offer, to try new cuisines, to make friends all around the globe. Living this way allows us to do that, and if there's any way to incorporate what you love with how you make a living, that to us was the ultimate dream.
So our adventures have taken us this far. We're currently in Panama. We're about to ship across the Darien Gap and start exploring South America. If you've been with us this long, then thank you for watching. If you guys are new here, make sure you click the subscribe button so you can follow along on our adventures through South America.
Thank you again to Brookside for sponsoring this video, and we hope to continue to bring you the best adventures we can find from the road.
If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button to show us that you appreciated it. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Adios! And being completely fulfilled.
Dark chocolate, fruit-filled.
Excuse me.
I ate these for a long time before. Ready?
No, I'm gonna sneeze again.
Go for it.
You're like a cat counter. A countertop cat, even though you're a dog.
The dark chocolate.
Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty,